Welcome back, guys. Today we'll be continuing our journey with the company Neuralink. If you haven't watched my previous video about the company and what it does, I highly suggest you start by checking it out in the suggestions above so you get a clear understanding of what is going on. As for this video, we'll be giving you a progress update on Neuralink in 2020. Let's go. The presentation started off by explaining Neuralink's main objective and goal, which is essential for every company. It clears out any questions of uncertainty about the company's trajectory and where it hopes to be in the future. It also helps any future investors and incoming recruits, from engineers to doctors, of understanding what they're getting into. If you remember in our past video, we mentioned that almost anything we do or think about in our body is transmitted using electrical signals in our brains. Now I want you to connect this concept to what the company is currently suggesting. According to their scientific research, almost anyone will have some sort of neurological disorder at some point in their lives. The company believes that they can solve almost any problem that we might face, from memory loss, brain damage, addiction, and even anxiety. The logic behind their methodology is simple. Let's stimulate the brain electrically in a certain level. That way, we can reconnect or rejuvenate a signaling problem in a specific area with an electrical signal that we can emit with our device. What device am I talking about? Remember the link that we explained in our previous video? The thing that could potentially let us control our smartphones with our minds, and how it is connected to our brain through this adapter right here? Yeah, this is it. Except the design actually changed. This time, the team decided to go with a more coin-like design stuck into the skull. They'd essentially remove part of the skull and put this instead. They did this because the initial design was still pretty apparent behind your ear and it didn't seem normal. Plus, the wires you see here would be closer to the device, making the overall procedure easier. The link can additionally do smartwatch functions, like temperature and pressure measurements. It can also monitor your health, warn you of possible heart attacks or strokes, and even plays music. Nice. Obviously, you need to charge the link. It lasts all day, but it needs to be charged at night. It'll be inductively charged, so no wires connected. If you've owned an Apple Watch at some point, that's an example of how inductive charging works. It's honestly a bit surprising to me that you'd have to charge it while it's attached to your brain. The old design was partly detachable, while this one isn't. I'm not sure of the implications of such a decision, but I'd assume this was done in order to maintain the connections in your body instead of cutting them off suddenly. See, there are many complex decision criterion involved in coming up with such a design. Would you make the design detachable and charge it separately, knowing that your abilities would be cut off, which might possibly lead to confusion? Or go with an attached design and charge it in your head, knowing that the heat from charging or anything else might also have some dangerous implications in your brain? Now, it's obviously not that simple. What if the link actually helped treat your case and then you grew independent? But what if it doesn't and you need to use it for the rest of your life? All these questions will probably get clearer with the coming years. But one thing's for sure, a human cannot do this operation. You might have noticed the robot in the presentation, right here. And your next question could be, why do we need a robot to do such a procedure? Well, the nodes that have to be inserted into the brain require extremely high precision that couldn't be done safely and effectively by a human. So they created this kind of super robot that does it for them. As you can see here, they remove part of the scalp, then they remove part of your skull and replace it with a link. They're aiming for the procedure to be less than an hour, where you don't even have to do general anesthesia, and you'd simply leave the hospital the same day. Half human, half robot. But does it work? Don't you think this all sounds too extreme and freaky? Well, it's about to get more exciting. Neuralink provided us with a live demo called the 3 Little Pigs demo. Yeah, pigs. In the presentation, 3 main pigs were introduced: Joyce, Dorothy, and Gertrude. each in different pens. They decided to go with the pigs for the experiment because the skull structure, thickness, and density for pigs is the closest to humans, and because of the brain environment in the head as well. In pen 1, we have Joyce with no implant, pretty healthy and happy, and pigs love food and friends, by the way. In pen 2, we have Gertrude, but she was shy at the time, so we're gonna have to move on to pen 3. To Dorothy. Dorothy used to have an implant, then they removed it. This is important because we want to demonstrate reversibility, which means if you had one and wanted to remove it, or wanted to upgrade it, it would be completely fine and normal, with no complications or side effects. Those that we know of. Oh, and the link's been connected for 2 months. That's important to know as well. Now going back to Gertrude, it actually has an implant, and we can see the real-time signals as explained by the founder, Elon Musk.
So what the beeps you're hearing are real-time signals from the Neuralink in Gertrude's head. So this Neuralink connects to neurons that are in her snout. So whenever she snuffles around and touches something with her snout, that sends out neural spikes, which are detected here. And so on the screen, you can see each of the spikes from the 1024 electrodes.
They also mentioned that they have put on other pigs more than one implant, and they were also completely normal and happy. The reason we would want that is to know if we can implant in different areas of the brain at the same time. Let's try and understand the readings of the brain activity. Each spot in this image represents a neural spike. A neural spike, as mentioned by Elon and in the previous video, tells us of neuron activity sending signals in the brain. The bottom blue curve shows the accumulation of the spikes, so if you sum them up according to the region they are being signaled in. Let's take it a step further. Let's put a pig on a treadmill. Yes, I'm not crazy. After we train the pig to walk on the treadmill, we can start to analyze what signals are being sent by the brain to the limbs of the pig. Why? Why are we doing this? We're going to try and predict the signals that the brain is sending so that we know if our algorithm understands the pattern of the signals. If our model predicts the curve right, then we're on the right path of understanding what move left leg forward means to the brain. Get it? If we are wrong, we train the algorithm more and more, telling it what is right and what is wrong. In this curve here, we see that the team was able to predict with a high confidence interval the movements and positions of the limbs. Now we use this understanding of the language of the brain and try to stimulate it with a similar signal. Project this idea into the future and we can potentially understand different messages sent by the brain to our bodies. The red marks in this case are the electrodes firing, the green marks are the neurons responding. In the future, by carefully controlling the electric field emitted by the electrode, you can potentially influence 1,000 to 10,000 neurons in a certain area. Taking it a step further would be stimulating the brain at different power levels as well, as shown in the video here. But who controls what and where? Well, this will all be connected to your phone via Bluetooth using an app. Now, in terms of the progress towards human trials, they just announced that they received FDA Breakthrough Device designation in July. So if we translate this to actual English, according to the FDA's website, is a very important milestone in working very closely with the FDA towards human testing. According to the website, this phase helps speed up development, assessment, and review of this novel product, while preserving the minimum human health and safety measures required. This is all in hopes of trying to consumerize the link and make the operation as accessible as possible, getting cheaper and cheaper, so that anyone can essentially do it. A lot of important questions were asked in the Q&A in part of the presentation. If you want to check the full video, it's in the description below. The team hinted at possible future dream recording and recollection. They also hinted at possible future gaming with your mind. I mean, why not? In any case, it'll be interesting to see where this company takes us with this technology and how it's going to evolve over time. But one thing's for sure, we're going to be hearing the name Neuralink more often. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.